for. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowler's Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Roto Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning and welcome back to the Beef and Barnzy show as we're back at home for the first time in what seems like forever. As usual, I am Barnzy and I'm joined by internet personality, the talent, the looks, and the brains behind the show, Beef Stew. How are you?
Hot. I've got a malfunctioning air conditioning unit downstairs. Fortunately, I've built enough goodwill with the guy that I got the first cancellation. So 11 o'clock is when they're coming to hopefully fix it. So a few T's and P's on my bank account would be appreciated. Yeah.
Well, and what we have today, we have a good one for you here today. We got Real Talk reviews. We're going to take care of 3 balls. You see them scrolling across the bottom there. The X3, the Wolverine Dark Moss, and the Reality Check.
Strike.
Well, yeah, if you're Stu, then it's the Reality Strike. Exactly.
Because Stu's an idiot. That's why. So I think we've spoken a little bit about the Reality Check before. So let's start with that while people are filing in. We've got videos online. I did one. I think Chris did one, maybe. Not sure. But anyway, we have videos online for you guys to check out.
I threw it in the stepladder in Detroit for the PBA 50 Cup for a couple of games. Yeah, I mean, so there's some stuff out there.
Yeah, we've done. I did one game on cut with it. Yeah. So where'd you see it fitting? What's your thoughts on it? Like,
what? Yeah, I mean, ironically, you think, okay, Reality Check, it's another reality bowl. It should fit with the reality, and the reality of it is dun. Yay! Yeah, there you go.
Belly laugh.
The infinite physics is the ball down for me off of the reality as far as motion and keeping that same motion, but getting a cover that saves more energy. And the Reality Check it's probably the closest thing to my UFO alert replacement. It's a little stronger, gets a little stronger change of direction in the mid lane versus being rounded, and then we'll get a little bit forward when I roll it more. But a stronger change of direction in the mid lane for sure, and that's even at the box 4K fast, which is probably the first one that I saw that came out, I think, as intended.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely think that's a good point. I know that we have been a little critical of the 4K fast process, but I feel like they're dialing it in, to use a golf term. So that's good to see. I think that the last few balls that I've had, Tina has actually had a weight change on the she's gone from 15 to 14. So I've seen quite a few different balls recently of the new ones. I think we've gone through 4 dark mosses now between us. That ball seems to be coming out almost shiny, a lot closer to what was expected. So yeah, I had another Zen turn up that was a little closer to what I would expect, given what they were trying to achieve with it.
Smooth,
so
yeah.
Now I didn't really put 2 and 2 together with the Reality Check and the UFO alert till I was chatting to you the other day about it. So I actually drilled a weaker one from the layout. We've had a lot of strong asymmetrical balls come out recently. So I've kind of tried to do the same layout on all of them for at least one of the balls. So we get like at least like a base to try and figure this out for you guys. Cause it's a bit of a, it's a bit difficult
to do on your own. So that's what we're here for.
And the first one that I, the first one of those that I drilled with that same 5x4x2. So a shorter pin buffer, higher pin. And for me, it actually got a little bit too forward. Like it was I found it to be quite responsive overall. I've subsequently drilled the weaker one and I see a much more continuous shape. It's still pretty sharp, but it's much more continuous. But chatting to you about the UFO alert, I'm going to add some polish to it to see if that can fit in that gap, because I feel like I like the infinite physics a lot, and I don't really feel like I need the infinite physics dull and the reality check dull. For me personally,
right.
I don't have enough need for two balls in that gap. I'm not saying that they're not different. They're not different. That the gap isn't, you're not in play long enough with that gap for me. So I think if I shine it like you were talking about, I think we might see something that's going to be significantly quicker down the lane than the physics, and give us a nice compliment and something to replace the UFO alert. I feel like of the balls that got, the Chad 6, as we'll call them from now on, that one was probably one of the ones that was highest on most people's lists to replace. Of the balls, I felt like that was one of the most popular. It'd been out the longest as well, of the balls that got kicked out. So kicked out of USBC competition anyway. So well, at least we've gained one more fan. Where do you have you tried one shiny? What are you thinking? You think we can get it?
Because I did like it where it was, and there were so many balls out at the time, and like you said, I had the infinite physics below it as cleaner, so I left it above as is for the time being. We bowled on a lot of long patterns at the end of the year until a short one the very last week, and so I wanted something that was a little bit more aggressive than some of the other ones, and so I left that as is for now. Now that I'm back home, I have another one. So the PBA 50 doesn't have quite the unlimited resources that the regular truck does. So there was a shipment of 8. Those went away immediately, and I grabbed the last one which is what I used in Detroit on that show. So I haven't had a chance for a second one, but it does make sense to me that it can fit with just a touch of polish on it, or the 1000 in polish, like I've done with some of the other balls, and fit in that slot.
So another ball that was that people were looking for, I mean, if they wanted to get that reaction out of the original Wolverine, Wolverine Dark Moss, I don't find it to be particularly close to the original for me, in the like shape wise. I mean, like overall strength probably pretty similar, but shape wise for me, this one's a little more rounded and much more continuous. For me, I had the original Wolverine, like I felt like it was really aggressive in one spot. Like it stood up really hard. And when I'm tending to use those balls, it's because there's oil down the lane. I'm tending to throw them a little slower. And I found it a little hard to use that one a lot of the time because I felt like it stood up too hard in the one spot. I know that Tina really liked that blue one. She finds the green one to be at least a ball stronger for her. Like if it was in her arsenal, she would have both, and the blue one would be below the green one because the green one picks up a bit earlier and she can move a lot further left with it, which sounds like it should be what you want, but she actually preferred the blue one because she could stand on top of it and, you know, keep it straighter
through the front.
So
Yep.
that's kind of what I'd seen out of it. What about you?
I see it being a little bit stronger as well. You know, like I said, the difference between you and I, you're very good at clearing the lane and creating a lot of shape down lane. I guess I prefer to see it hook a little sooner. Anyway, and this ball it's a little stronger in the mid lane. Again, we bowled on quite a bit of longer patterns with oil at the back end, and so I didn't get to throw it a lot. I threw it a little bit on the one show there.
Yeah, was that the one where you beat Parker?
Yeah, we beat Parker on the show. It was, you know, and it was pretty responsive. It turned out to be a little too responsive in a couple spots, but it was good on the line.
I think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty good approximation there. Honestly, I didn't get to throw the Spectre very long before it was gone. So
yeah, it wasn't. I shot 300 with a Spectre, but I didn't really. Like I say to a lot of people when they go, "Oh, you must love that ball." I've shot 300 with a lot of balls. But I mean, I think the problem was the initial one I had was okay, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And when I tried a different layout, it didn't really fit to the gap I wanted. And because it wasn't in the range for very long, it was difficult to exactly dial it in. Because principally what I do is I'll pick a layout that to a large extent makes sense based on the other balls I have, and I'll throw it thinking I know where the ball's going to fit. And if it doesn't fit in that gap, but I feel like there's potential for it, I kind of drill another layout. And then if that doesn't immediately work, we have so many balls. We're fortunate. There's so many balls we have in the range that we all like, that it's kind of like, all right, I'll just wait and see after that point. Chris is much more in the wait and see category, period. But like that's kind of how I see it anyway. If I drill a couple and I don't particularly like fall in love, I kind of wait and see. And if like suddenly everybody's using them and they look super great and everything else, then I'll kind of reevaluate with it. But that's sort of the way I go with the balls generally, especially when it's a ball that fits in a gap that I kind of want as well.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in your regular rotation on tour, that does become very conditional. Like, oh, you guys love that ball, or you don't love that. Well, it has to fit in a spot that we don't already have one that we really like, and it has to fit a little bit what's going on tour.
And that's 100% how I see bowling balls. Like, if it's not super special, then I'm probably not going to use it. Like, and by super special, I mean like unique. So like High Road Pearl here is a great example. When the High Road Pearl came out, no ball did what that ball did for about 4 years.
Right.
If you could use the High Road Pearl, you had a huge advantage over everybody who wasn't using the High Road Pearl. Like there was a little less oil on the lanes. Like it got a little tighter down the lane. And it was like fantastic. Now, for me, I don't see the Dark Moss overlapping the High Road Pearl at all. I think the High Road Pearl is significantly cleaner, and it's sharper for me, but it's less. Like it's less overall hook. So that's like for me, I think that the High Road Pearl would be the ball underneath the Dark Moss. Would be kind of the way I would go with it.
Right. It'd be, you know, for those of you that pay attention to my 6-ball arsenal, that's going to be the, you know, it's going to be a touchdown from there. It's going to be in the dry lane category, but the High Road would be cleaner and longer for sure.
This is Gerald. Hey, Alan. See you on Saturday night. Gerald said, I followed your instruction, went 1,000 and polish on both the Infinite and the Dark Moss and had success with them. Well, that's great to hear. I'm glad that we're not just yelling at clouds and we actually have some useful answers for you.
Yeah, I agree. That's been the best for me is a fairly fresh 1,000 or an old 500 in that direction. Gives me a lot of the look of what we saw before from, historically Storm, Utah, global Roto Grip looks on the lane.
What is Tina seeing with the weight change? I'm thinking about going down to 14. Do it. I think Tina's seeing that her bag is way easier to put in and out of the car, for one. For two, I think after she's done, she isn't, her arm doesn't feel like it's about to fall off. I feel like she's got more speed. So when she misses left, she's got more chance of like getting away with it, if that kind of makes sense. Just one sec. Yeah, if that kind of makes sense. I don't think that there's been a drastic change in the hits that she carries or doesn't carry. I just think that there are certain shots that she definitely won't carry with. Like if Tina gets a hand on the side of it and shoves it further down the lane, it isn't going to strike unless it hits light. Whereas the 15 would get away with it some of the time. But having said that, if she gets it rolling earlier, I feel like her carry might even be better because she's got a little bit more ball speed. So there's definitely pluses and minuses, but I think it's a huge plus being able to access more ball speed and not feeling like you've had a war at the end of a night of league.
And the little bit I've read, that's where it planes out at a little bit, is where it becomes an advantage. If you need more speed and it increases your rev rate a little bit, the RG numbers also move up, so you can increase some angle. For the most part, I do think if you were throwing 14, 15, and 16 all the same speed with relatively the same rev rate, yeah, of course, the more weight would be beneficial. But in the case where it's an advantage to get your speed up a little bit, it seems like that's where it comes out. It's just hard to prove.
Aaron says, I asked Darren Tang, not Quang. Zen and IQ Tour, he recommended a Dart Moss. Would you guys agree? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of balls that fit between a Zen and an IQ Tour for me. Like a Shiny Cosmos would fit in that gap.
Yeah, it's a cleaner cover. I actually think that Moss might be a touch a little longer, and then it does flare more.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I don't think that's an unreasonable option. I think the Dart Moss will be a little earlier than your high road. If you wanted, like I say, for me, if you had the high road and the IQ Tour and the Zen, I think that the Cosmos fits in there better. But if you want to get rid of your high road, then the Dart Moss, well, here's another question. Well, yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, wine is down on the lowest, cleanest end of all of our balls. So,
basically anything shiny fits between a Zen and a wine.
Yeah, that's firmly in the middle, though, of a pretty sizable gap. So, yeah. Shameless plug, Alan Riley, who's been on the show to promote some tournaments here before and does a lot of around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Need a few singles bowlers for the 2 squads of kickoff team this Saturday at Garland. Currently at 90 teams. Have a couple of teams needing 1 or 2 to fill for illness injury. That, as usual, will be a lot of action and a lot of bowlers. And so contact him.
So that's the Dallas area for people who are uninitiated at Garland. The kickoff is a 5-man team tournament run by the bowling shops. Alan does a great job. The 2 squads, I believe, are at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Saturday. So that's about the deal.
Yeah.
Craig Dobson said he posted on the Weber Cup Twitter page today. Well, thanks. I don't think you need to.
No, you're good on the Vegas venues. That's not going to happen this year as much as I think maybe they wanted to. And Dom has reached out and got a response. I believe we'll know more here in the next few weeks.
Okay, cool.
So
1500 polished by Spinner. is the way we've done it. If you need to clean your Zen, either get some ball cleaner or some alcohol would be a good spot.
Yeah,
I think.
I use Extra Clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Kendrick, I've talked with you about this before. We should use two targets on the strike ball, but should we use? Yeah, but my second target is the actual pin.
You don't really have a break point if you're throwing straight,
right? So I draw the line to just to reaffirm where I'm headed to, and especially those of us with glasses. Occasionally, your head can get down a little far, and you can't see the pin above the.
Especially when the old air conditioner isn't working too good and you get the slide on.
You start sliding down.
I had that in Houston. No, it wasn't in Houston. It was in Jonesboro. I just had one of those days where my glasses wouldn't sit where they were supposed to sit. And God damn, it was annoying. It was just like they'd get to here. And then, of course, I'm already a bit too forward anyway. And I am blind ass F. Like... I can't even see. I can't even read. If I take my glasses off, I can't even read the text that's underneath. And I've got a 32-inch monitor in front of me. So it's a problem when my glasses get and my eyes are looking over my glasses. That's a disaster. Yeah, for sure, Regina. I think that one thing that I would encourage you to do is have a quick look on the website. Because some of the balls are really similar, the numbers, and some of the balls are quite different numbers wise. So just pay a little bit of attention. Like if your favorite ball is the dark code, the RG is quite a bit higher in 14 than it is in 15. Chatting with Hank, he told me that I should probably drill all of the 14s about half an inch stronger, just because of the way. Just because of physics.
Yeah, you're going to throw it harder, and the RG numbers moved up. But
he also started talking about stuff that I didn't understand, so I just sort of nodded and pretended I did understand, and just kind of.
And because I know Regina, and for someone her age, I think moving down might be a good idea. So.
I didn't say that, Regina.
If you're going to do that, again, I think we've come to the conclusion it's better to put some lines on underneath it first.
Yeah.
By hand or the spinner, but for the most part, since we're doing the polish on the spinner, it's not that hard to do. 1,000 slow if you have a 2-speed spinner, and then polish fast is how I've done it. So. Alan? Yeah, nice guy. Sure. Let's go with that.
Okay, we'll quickly run through these questions and then we'll round back to the X3. Two-handed lefty, no urethane yet. Clown.
I appreciate you challenging yourself, though.
16 mile an hour, 400 to 500. Again, clown. You've got a 500 rev rate and you throw it 16 miles an hour. You haven't got a urethane. How do you even compete?
How do you keep it on the lane?
Yeah, but
remember, that's Russo's speed.
Yeah.
With
like a real rev rate.
Simonelli's rev rate? I don't know.
Best way to tackle a 46-foot flat pan. There is so many variables that aren't really listed here that it's like impossible to tell. Basically, if you were right-handed, we talked to you about find out where the track is and then see whether you can make it like pick up from there. But principally, you're going to have to bowl around third hour and try and hit the head pin.
Yeah, they're going to be flat. There's no track on the left side. Something that's very controllable. If the surface is old, you won't be able to use as much surface on their ball. If its surface is relatively new or pro-am lane, you might be able to throw something that's got a little more cover on it. But if you don't throw it very hard, which if that's 16 off your hand or is that 16 on the monitor?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's on the monitor, which means your actual speed off your hand would be 18 and a half to 19.
Which is kind of matched.
That would match your rev rate way more. And of course, what those guys use a lot when they're hard is they use urethane, and when they're easy, and when they wake up.
Long and short and
And,
needed.
yeah.
Good morning from Fresno. Oh, I bet the weather's nice there. Punching an X3 4x7x3. What should you expect? I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I imagine it's going to be early and lazy. 4x7.
Yeah. So explaining to the people at home, that's
a 4-inch pin.
Yeah.
The mass bias is going to be past his track.
Or yeah, relatively in it.
Yeah. And then a 3 would be probably just above the fingers.
Yeah, somewhere around there. That's going to be pretty slow. I think, and we haven't really talked about it yet, but that's a good segue. We can jump right in. I believe the X3 is a step down, meaning a step cleaner than, say, the Gem Proto Proton Physics Novus.
Have we got a new ball? I don't know.
Proto Physics, yeah, sir.
It's okay. I just rename balls. You can as well. There's no judgment here.
Well, yeah, I think it's cleaner than that, but shape-wise, it's very smooth. And some of that goes with the drilling I did do with it, but I do believe that in general, it's a fairly smooth ball. It's a step down off those big reality.
It really kind of surprised me with it being so much higher RG than the other balls that have been released. And given what I saw out of the X1,
yeah,
I kind of expected it to be pretty whippy. Like down the lane, I thought it was going to be quite angular, to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the yellow. I don't know what it is, but
yeah. Like I say, like for me, it didn't really fit in the gap I was expecting. It's definitely been a ball that I've liked better, shinier, so far.
Yeah.
I drilled my first one. I drilled it with a 5.5-inch pin, a 4.5-inch mass bias, and a 3-inch buffer. And for me, it wasn't really strong enough when I threw it to fit in any sort of gap that I kind of liked. So I added surface to it, and then it hooked miles, but not in a very useful way. I've subsequently polished that ball like we'd been talking about, and it's fantastic. It really mellowed out the lane. I felt like it was what you would call your kind of medium control ball. For me. I tend to use a little bit more ball speed than I probably should do when I was going straight, when I go straight. And I do really, I do really like the shape to my eyes of what I see out of it. I'm able to square up to the pattern, whereas I can't square up with, say, the reality check or the infinite, just because they get offline too quickly, like they're too responsive. We bowled league on Tuesday night on the 40-foot US Open pattern that we used. It's great. We're having a domestic in the middle of the show. And yeah, I enjoyed the shape that I got out of it. I could play, 12 to 7 type of reaction, control the pocket. Awesome. Then when I needed to move left, it was straight into the infinite physics that bounced off it pretty good. So yeah, I see it being way closer to something more like a phase 2. Once I take the surface up, like in that kind of shape, than I do an asymmetrical ball. But when it had surface on it, it was very odd, because with a lot of surface, it looks really asymmetrical. And when I shine it, it almost looks like a symmetrical ball, the way it's so predictable. So,
yeah, I used it in Hammond in one place to play a little straighter. And it was very smooth and it's actually a great description. It rolled like it was very much a symmetrical type ball. One piece shape, continued. did a lot of things. It was not the skid flip kind of thing that I too thought that cover would be pretty clean. That core had a little higher RG, so it might change directions, pretty good in the mid lane, and it was very, very controllable, very, very predictable off of it.
I do feel like sometimes when you see hybrid and you've thrown a Pearl version of that, it sometimes makes you feel like it's going to have some relationship to that. And not always is the Pearl cover stock involved in that hybrid. So, does that kind of make sense? Like, it's like you would think when you hear hybrid that it's like the solid ball and the Pearl ball together, but sometimes the solid ball is a stronger cover, and then they do a hybrid version of that cover rather than anything. Like, sometimes the Pearl ball has nothing to do with the previous cover, and I feel like that's a little bit, and I might be wrong, but that seems a little bit what we're seeing out of the X3, because you use the X2 quite a bit, and that's one of the most sideways balls you have in your bag.
It is.
So when you hear, oh, we're having a hybrid X3, you're thinking, well, it's going to be it's basically going to be a stronger version of the X2.
Yeah, the X1 that you threw a lot, the X2 that I threw a lot. Okay, this is going to be in the middle.
And it's not.
It's not.
No.
So either you're going to attend the Tony Reyes, Terry Leong over under doubles in San Jose. No plans on it right now. I know I looked at the dates a while back. I don't recall where they are offhand, but if you put in there, obviously will help get the word out a little bit. So,
basically just keeping your face dry so the glasses don't move. It's kind of, and then finding a pair that you like, because if you go with too small of a lens, it's very easy when you first start to just see frame.
Yeah. I mean, I think the trickiest thing is having ones that set up high enough, so getting the proper bridge distance so that they don't end up, if you're going to bowl, they can't be sitting on the end of your nose, unless you're going to stand very, very tall. It is a good reminder. It's a good, it'll tell me when I'm getting too forward, because I'm not looking through the lens at all. But
yeah. So greetings from the Philippines. It's all about routine.
Yeah.
We've done a lot on the mental game in other shows. I'm not going to delve into that right now, just because we're kind of talking about bowling balls. But in general, it's all about trying to focus on the same things each shot and staying focused on that and not getting worried about the outcome. I think that's
a fair thoughts on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I don't touch my glasses.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would get oil on your glasses. So.
And maybe you mean like face and nose oil and all that. If they're
nose oil. I love nose oil.
Yeah.
For anybody who's a vice person, nose oil.
Fan, yeah. I have microfiber cloths. Basically, they buy them in packs of 6 for like, I don't know, $6 or $8 off Amazon. And I just turn them over.
Yeah. If you happen to be around anybody who's a DV8 fan, you could steal their cloth, because the cloth that comes in the DV8 box is pretty good for cleaning glasses.
Oh, there you go. Same idea. Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's been rumored.
I still want to show Regina's comment again because it's great. Alan Riley, her age. Any thoughts on the Supernova? I have plenty of thoughts on the Supernova, but
that'll be the next show.
Yeah,
we just got them. I got home yesterday, 3 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and so I have not caught up on balls yet. So
I switched to 14 and lost 0 hitting power. Well, that's good to hear.
I mean, Ryan, I've known you for a long time, so I'm gonna skip the easy. No, I'm not gonna skip the easy choke. The bar was pretty low, so you were good.
We need more 900 global balls in the catalog. Seems pretty light compared to Storm and Roto lines. I mean, I don't know that it's that light compared to the Roto Grip line. There's been
I
some
think it
big
probably
clear
follows
outs.
a lot of the same.
Oh, decline.
Yeah, we have quite a few. It's not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not 25 balls or 30 balls a year or anything, but I think there's plenty there. So, and
yeah, I mean,
to be honest,
it is. He's not wrong. They've got
Yeah.
rid of a few balls recently, but like I say, I don't think it's. I think it's in line. Maybe it's a little bit behind Roto Grip. But Storm just have a lot of balls because they sell a lot more balls than the other two companies. That's just
there's that too.
basically the way it is.
And there may be quite a push there too because of the balls that got that were limited. So
yeah,
well, a few that should probably be in quotes. So Dell, question for you guys. I'd like to try and get more revs lately, and Mo put out a video about finger tilt. So which finger should
I mean, God rest Mo's soul, but man, he was crazy with some of this shit.
I used to be about 75-25, I guess, with my ring finger did more of the work. But and I think that's what you're referring to. But,
I think I do think though that there is a thing where you should focus more on your ring finger, because if you focus on your ring finger, you're less likely to come over the top of the ball.
Yeah.
And there's never anything good happens from coming over the top of the ball. So no, I haven't messed with my finger pitches laterally to try and change my roll or rev rate. It sounds like a good way to start having your fingers hurt.
Yeah.
When do you think you'll get a chance to throw the supernova? Yesterday.
It's big.
Yeah, it's strong. Put it this way: the when I was recording the video, which I don't know, can't go up for a couple of weeks. The ball I used for comparison was the proton physics, so that should give you an idea of where it will fit.
There you go.
What balls would you recommend to fit around the Zen and IQ Tour Nano for righty with? Wow.
Are you looking for more or less?
Pitch black. If you've got 550 rev rate. But I mean, there's so many balls. Like, it's just like it depends where you want it to fit.
Hustle. If you're looking for cleaner, you're looking for hustle, probably something else.
I would probably lean towards the USA because that one comes dull. And with that much speed and that much rev rate, I think you'd throw a wine through the back of the building or take the head pin clean.
Yeah. I mean, the burners. Stu's had some success. And actually, I have to thank him because of his success with those balls. I drilled the burner pearl. I drilled it a couple of weeks ago for something else. And then it turned out to be the key for me last weekend, or this, whatever that was, Monday. And that step ladder. Well, actually, all week, most of the strikes I did throw was with that ball. That wasn't your thing. So,
is Del Ballard not 36?
It's 36.
This was the one you just won on, right?
Yep.
So that's a Chris question.
That is a direct angle of attack. We saw 2-inch pins. In the place we were at, the gutter didn't hook on. Well, at least not on every pair. So. 2-inch pins and urethane and fairly early smooth balls were the play, and as close to the gutter as possible.
Yeah,
on a Lego machine, generally you can get a little further away and throw it more towards it. It'll come off of it. Brunswick machine, not as much.
It's definitely a pretty challenging pattern, that one.
That one and Webb. They haven't done those two any favors on because the one thing it was easy to do on some of those lanes was throw it in the gutter.
Yeah. It might be one of those patterns like Dino says about Wolf. Dino's got the greatest quote about Wolf ever. if when you throw it and it gets the break point, your ass doesn't pucker, you're not throwing it far enough right. It's so true about Wolf as well.
Yeah.
If you're not hitting 1-2 on Wolf, you probably ain't striking.
As a pro, how many of the new release balls do you get for trying different layouts? It's a little relative. Generally, we get one. As national tour staff members, Roto Grip balls, lots of times he'll get another one, and I'll get a Niner Global, the high performance and upper high.
Yeah.
Upper mid, I mean. We'll get those, but a second one. And normally we'll order those for ourselves anyway, just because they're part of our brand, our staple. But the first one almost always has the same layout, and that's both for us and for you, so we can tell you some information, how the balls compare, where, so we can do some of that background and for both of us. So the first one is not always where it's going to fit. The first one is just to tell what it really is.
100%. Real quick, let's have a shout out to Platinum Ford. They are again sponsoring the Texas Ironman in a couple of weeks. They truly are the biggest friends of bowling in Texas. Outside of bowling industry people, calm down, Plano, etc. We still love you guys, but Platinum Ford, for a company that doesn't have to be involved in bowling, really steps up and tries their best to help any way they can. They gave away a truck last year, or tried to give away a truck last year. They were trying to do the same thing this year, and the insurance company who was guaranteeing the policy or whatever backed out at the last minute. So undeterred, Adam and Stoney have stepped up again, and they've just said, well, screw it. If we can't give away a truck, we'll just give away cash. So wow. They're spending the money that they were going to spend on the insurance policy anyway, and they're just giving it away to squad winners and high games and a bunch of stuff. So there's money guaranteed for 300. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been as much as 5,000. But if there isn't a 300, he's just giving money away anyway. So,
yep. So if you have a need for a car, call Platinum Ford in Terrell, Texas. Adam Vince. And Vince.
And tell him that Beef and Barnzy sent you.
That's right. They are the bowlers dealership for sure. They've taken care of a lot of people, and so far I have not heard anyone said they didn't have a better experience there than some of their previous ones. So
our boy Patrick Dombrowski still pumping the tropical train.
Yeah, I mean he's beat me enough times with it. I probably should get on the train instead of getting run over it.
I believe the phrase is "don't have the skill set."
I have a pin reality check. There's a fan of the show. I like the show.
Pin up jam.
Like to see a pin down in both of these balls. The gem was going to be pretty smooth. I do have a pin down gem that I use, and actually for a long time that was the only one I had because it rolled so good like that. It was actually in my middle finger, but it continued a long time as well, and it was pretty strong. It hooked more than I had originally intended for it. The reality check is going to be cleaner that spot, much sharper off that spot, and then for me it went forward, and my reality check is down. A low 5-inch. What is it? 5 by? Let's see. I'm trying to remember where I think it's 5 by 5 by
4.
4 or 5. Yeah, might be 5 by 5 by 5. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd be like, for me, I think that you would see more of a difference doing the reality check in 2 different layouts. I think that the gem is so cover strong that you almost won't see that much difference in changing the layout up or down. I mean, I'm sure that There's some technical people who can break that down a little further. But if you have the same surface on the two gems, I don't think you'll see as big a change just because the cover is so, like, if you imagine on most balls, it's probably 70% the cover and 30% the weight block.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like it might be 85% in the gem because that cover is so strong.
Yeah.
And
For
so
me,
smooth.
I finally drilled a pin-up one
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, and really, it is early enough, and then it does bleed out, and so it wants to change. That core is monstrous. It tries to change directions, but the cover's lost quite a bit. I still like the lower pin layout for a gem the best for me because it is strong, and then it just keeps its shape a long time.
I think that makes sense, but you wouldn't now have the pin up one off the pin down one. You'd only have the pin down one.
I would go back to just having a newish, yeah.
So as I just think that as he has a pin up gem already,
yeah,
I think if he was going to drill a gem, should he drill it up or down? You would recommend he should drill it down.
I would, yeah.
I just don't know you're going to see as much because I just don't know that the gem's in play long enough to need two layouts on it.
The advancement of oils and them being, thicker / slower in the front all the time, the advancement / regression, that they're not putting as much oil in the lane, and so you can't use them that often anyway, and just not for as long as I'd like. So,
if I was you, just real quick, if I was you off that option, if I was going to drill two more balls and you wanted to go down, what I would do is I would keep those two and I would add a infinite physics and a X3 down. And I think that would give you way more options than taking the two balls you already had, drilling up and down. So that's what I would do if you wanted to see a different shape. They're not really comparable. I just drilled a brand new hypercell. The hypercell is earlier and slower. They're the same color.
They look
they look really similar. The X3 basically just looks like a 4K version. I mean, like as in picture definition. Than hypercell looks like a 1080p. The colors on the hypercell are so dull and just not vibrant at all. And the colors on the X3 are almost the same colors. They're just like super like boom. It's like the difference between a $350 TV and a $3,500 TV. Bet you were never thinking you were going to hear about a comparison of ball colors using TVs, but there you go.
Between the X3 and the Track Stealth, and obviously we have not thrown the Track Stealth, so that's a tough one to say.
The Track Stealth is actually pretty close to being a symmetrical ball.
I believe it is a symmetrical ball.
It's marked as with an asymmetrical thing, but it is basically symmetrical.
Yeah.
I think that I actually quite like the look of the Stealth. It's a black ball, and black balls never seem to be bad, except the Black Hammer 2001. That ball will forever be the worst ball that's ever been made, and nobody will change my mind. The fact that Walter Ray was Player of the Year with the Black Hammer 2001 and the Blue Hammer 2001 is enough to discount Belma winning 20 majors. Those balls were fucking terrible. And
he won with a Helix.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, no one won with that ball. No one even made a show with that ball.
Just the greatest.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tommy threw that Polaris hybrid. Man, if you want to see a video of a guy who didn't give a shit doing a ball video, check out Tommy's first 12 frames with the Polaris hybrid. Somebody was missing the golf course at that point. 0 fucks given. I was laughing with some of the Brunswick people. I go, he bowled 299. How could he be so upset? He was just like, well, didn't throw that one very well. Well, that one came back. That was a surprise. If you like the Polaris Solid, you'll probably like the Polaris Hybrid.
Right. Yeah, I wish I could.
I hated contacts when I tried them because I don't blink when I'm on the approach. And in a lot of places, the air conditioning blows down onto the approach. And my eyes felt like they got frozen in time because they just dried out so bad that I couldn't see anything by the time I got to the line. So it was almost like I had to put, eye drops in after every frame.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like it.
Mental game, what's that? I hear it's glorious. Have a great one when it comes to nationals. Made his first run at 1800 at nationals this year. Congratulations.
So did he get there, or did he just make a run at it?
He made a run at it, but he did. He started minus a lot after game one.
Okay.
And so, yes. I recommend currently Oakleys are pretty strong. They do all right.
I'm an Oakley guy for about the last 15 years.
Yeah, the Nike ones were pretty flimsy.
I pretty much don't throw. I pretty much don't. I was going to say I don't throw anything else, but being as I couldn't find them if I throw them, it becomes a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Charlie Tapp bowling the PBA 60. Shout out to him. He had a pretty good qualifying day. I don't know where he's at today in match play, but probably should click over there. Also, shout out to Joe Hutchinson. For those of you, he's been a friend of the show and been on the show. Had surgery to remove a tumor from his throat, and it seems as if things are okay. They cleared it all out, and seemed to got out of it. So just in the recovery process, but it's 3 to 5 days for no talking. And for those of you who know Joe, that might be worse than the surgery itself.
Yeah,
so.
it's just an older version of me.
Yeah, you guys have the same workout habits.
Yeah. So the regionals going on in where are they at? In Virginia. Arturo is actually leading. Sam Cooley, who is on an absolute tear the last week or so, is in second. Doherty third. Nick Christie from North Carolina is in fourth. Tackett, Sterner, Maldonado, and Ildemaro Ruiz. So there's no real shocks there. 7 of the 8 guys outside of Nick Christie have been dominating, or not necessarily dominating, but bowling really well. Cooley's finished first and second the last 2 tournaments.
Yeah,
so
he's on the heater too. So
I don't even know that Graham Farr bowled the event in Virginia. But yeah. So
George Rude, you're welcome. Robert, looking into contacts. In general in bowling centers, if your eyes will handle it, it's certainly easier than messing with glasses, like any sport.
I've got a funny story about one of the first times I bowled with contact lenses. So I got so in the habit, because I'm kind of large and I sweat, I go like this and I go like this, right? So here I am. I'm bowling this like small tournament in contacts, and I'm sat in the seating area going like this. Because I'm so used to just grabbing my glasses with my right hand and taking them off that I'm like, what the? And then my brain catches up that they're not there. Because it's just what you do. You go like that, and then you wipe your face, and I went to grab like twice. They're not there.
Little tick you had going on.
Yeah, like
8-1.
Yeah, what's going on? So yeah.
So on the X3, do you feel like some surface that would be useful ball at huge cleft? Yeah, if you have some ball speed, so that it doesn't burn out too much energy early.
Yeah.
The one tournament I used it, that's what I was using it for, was to stay a little straighter and stay up against it, and use the oil line a little bit.
Hey Adam, I wouldn't think so at the minute.
The line's pretty good, and there's most of the balls in there are fairly successful, so I don't think they're gonna. I don't know if there's a big need for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Need a strong ball and have a choice of any currently released ball from the summer. Have a ball like what would you recommend? Reality, X3, Dark Code, etc. Reality's been good for a while.
Yeah, I like the Reality in that. That's been my strong ball of choice.
Yeah, out of those three.
But I mean, I think he's just listing a few balls. I think he can pick anything. So I know that you've liked the Gem.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a big slow ball, but if you're just looking for what I think Stu and I both, I mean, we both think the Infinite Physics is really good. And we obviously both do some different things. We've been bowling on very different conditions over the last couple of months and both still like it a lot. So I would say that of the new releases is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Across
he made a choice pretty quickly. Getting a free ball release from the Summer League, we'll get the Supernova.
All right.
What would you choose as a step down? Okay.
Everything.
Physics.
Yeah. Joe's out on the PBA 50. Long time member of Team Canada. Getting sharp again. He was making the finals every week at the end there. Bowled a tough match against Mike Haggett, who
I mean,
buddy of mine from Ohio that made the show. So
it sucks when you have to bowl a lefty in a match.
Yeah.
It's not anything against the lefty. It just sucks when it's like a head-to-head match and it's not really, well, get better, Keith. Hopefully you get back on the lanes pretty soon.
Casey, I want to thank Casey. Casey hooked me up with an old school IQ Tour Emerald last week. So
what friends do.
You know what? I came out looking.
Hey, Casey, I hooked Chris up with an IQ Tour Emerald too. You know what he did? Change friggin' weight.
Yeah, you can have it back.
Oh, thanks.
You didn't like it. Woo! Let's be honest. The only reason I got it is because he didn't want it. So
I still kept one.
He was clearing space in his garage.
I did actually use it. I just saw you use it more, so I was like,
I have been a big fan of that one over the years. So,
Infinite Physics, medium light. Yeah. I mean, I still think Infinite Physics would look okay, but Zen is always my go-to for most lower rev rate guys. I think it's something that gives hook.
Nice middle ball that's shiny. It doesn't bleed out in the front. So that was the one you already answered.
Yes. So I like 1,000 and then step 2.
And I am 1,000 and react to shine.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite ball? No, not really.
Yeah, I found over the years I have balls that I gravitate towards, and obviously there's the core 5 or 6, but I want 6 balls that do pretty different things.
He did have a couple of 2 famous ones that were your faves. You had the old EPX. That was pretty favorable for one particular tournament. And then you had that old what was that global ball?
DCT.
The old DCT. Where Dom said that you shouldn't meet your heroes when he found out that Chris had only drilled one of them ever. You know what they say, you shouldn't meet your heroes. Something compared to the Hustle PBR. I've actually drilled the Hype Solid. I don't think it's definitely not as clean as the PBR. I found the PBR to be basically like a mini idol for me. Like it was a cleaner, like I could pretty much do anything with my hand with it.
Hyped hybrid more like a PBR. Well, PBR is still a little cleaner than that.
Too. I mean, I would guess Hustle USA is going to be the comparable to the Hustle PBR because it's the new solid Hustle. So that would be the one I would think. anything that has one pattern and we play for a week.
Yeah.
There's only one of those, I think, right now.
Right. There's a little bit of a misnomer that that changing patterns every day favors versatility, and it doesn't, because you collect how patterns break down and those kind of things, and the guys that are versatile make adjustments as the week goes on to a pattern and can attack it different ways. Re-guessing the next day actually takes that away, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're both pretty much on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm looking for something I can start. This was the question about the Zen and the IQ Tour Nano. I can start with on fresh before the Zen. If you want something closest to the Zen, phase 2 would be a pretty good option. If you want something a little stronger than that, we both have said the Infinite Physics is pretty good, especially if you're bowling a house shot in a kind of a bit of an older bowling center.
And the Zen Soul is a step stronger.
Yeah.
Than the Zen as well. And
then something you can bowl down with after the Zen. Then I think we've been looking at the Dark Moss. We kind of like that as an option.
How's the new span? Well, it's working out all right.
The senior tour guys aren't such a fan of it.
Yeah. What do we got?
We're getting close to needing to finish because I've got my air conditioning guy coming. I mean, I would have said a long time ago at least 400.
Yeah.
But now I see plenty of people doing really well with lower rev rates, especially with that purple one.
I mean, Walter threw the pink Widow one. It's not even their best one, and he demolished them last week with that thing.
Yeah, he brought it out for the PBA show, didn't he, for the league? Somebody says Brian says get LASIK. That's an option, I guess.
It's not if you've had RK surgery a long time ago.
My run stopped at 118 game 1. My contact has fallen out. Oh God, yeah, that's not great.
No.
I don't know, Adam. It depends what other balls you have. You need to ask Gio about his contacts. Okay, for sure. I push up my non-existent glasses whenever I wear contacts. I can relate. Yeah, the struggle is real. There he is. Dan, I need urethane ball to throw on 46 feet.
He's got plenty of them already. He throws on 46 feet every week. What's the difference? He's got old Dusty. He's got a purple hammer from 1991. It's like it stayed out in the sun too long. It's like the George Hamilton of bowling balls. It's not even the same color. Now it's gray. We just call it Dusty. It's just old Dusty balls. So,
I'd flip it. Gerald. Sorry. Yeah, I'd flip the ball. I'm not really a huge fan of drilling the older balls after a certain time. I feel like they end up just being a disappointment. I actually drilled an Alpha Crux for the Masters because I obviously can't sell it. And I drilled it and it was way smoother than I was thinking would be useful.
Yeah, I mean, you go to some of that, wherever you land on the thing, but some of the data that came out with the immortalizer and that the longer they sit there, that they actually get a little harder and don't hook as much and continue to cure would play into that. So,
yeah, I'm sure you can get a 2-for-1 deal.
Bitching about lefties, try making 14 straight senior finals in a bracketed format and having to go through Ross Packard at some point. For those of you that aren't on the West Coast, Ross was basically he didn't bowl that much on tour, but he was basically Earl Anthony on.
Who's the Seattle goat? Lefty. Made 1 billion shows.
Earl Anthony?
Probably won 6 titles.
Hugh Miller.
Hugh Miller.
There you
Hugh
go.
Miller was pretty tough as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been okay there on the port side out there for a while. So,
And let's be honest, you're talking about having to play Ross Packard. Try having to play against Jacob every time in the West region.
yeah. Yeah, obviously he's not bowling that much lately because PJ Haggerty's winning every weekend right now. So
He is. He is. Yeah, there's always it's never been about need.
yeah.
It's like me in electronics, Alan. You can relate to that. I might buy a new computer. It's not about need. And Tina, I'm not going to buy a new computer. I mean,
I think that's perfectly reasonable. I don't know that they're I think they can both be in your bag anyway.
That's a bit like saying a truck over a Tesla. They're not really doing the same job, are they?
Yeah, not really. So
PBA lowball would be cool. No, it wouldn't.
No, that would be boring really quickly, actually. It's cool for a minute.
Not very often because it always comes out to being so close that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I thought mine had changed a lot, and it had changed some before I changed spans again.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I changed spans back, it went to being almost identical to what it's been for the last 20, 30 years. So, yeah. Even though it looks like my track has changed in the end, it just, yeah. So, well, we do need to wrap it up. Is there anything else in here that you're seeing?
Phase 2, not quite enough on fresh house shot. What ball would you recommend as a step up? 18.5 right-handed, either a reality or an infinite physics.
Yeah. Thin Soul is in that same range as phase 2, so maybe not enough stronger.
Funny you should ask this question. There might be next season.
There's a couple of people checking it out.
Not mentioning any names. Ready for the night road Rex cover on a symmetrical core. Take my money. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty angular.
We're hopeful. So yes. Regina wants to know, does anybody throw the Cosmos? I do not throw it a lot. We have so many balls in that range, and the Zen is obviously the global goat in there. So
I do. I have it shiny. I find it to be pretty smooth. I find it useful off of Zen. So yeah, I've used it a little bit. I obviously haven't been bowling very well the last few weeks. I've got too many thoughts going through my head at the same time. And most of them accumulating, oh shit, why did I do it like that? So who started the urethane comeback? The Koreans.
Well, and I have a different answer to that. Every manufacturer that made an oil over 45 viscosity. There you
go. Mr. Tropical Storm says that the Cosmos is good. So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. We tried to we tried to bullshit along. I should have done videos, and I'm sorry. At the time I was supposed to put together the video package, I had no air conditioning downstairs, so that took up some of the panic yesterday. We've got our fingers crossed that we are going to be good in an hour or so. So
there you go.
We will see you next week. I'm going up to bowl in Dallas this weekend. Chris, you're taking son back to college, correct?
Back to college in the Wichita Bowling Banquet. So we're going to go see some friends and get the kid, kick him out. So,
all right.
The other one's already at marching camp. So that one time
at band camp.
Well, I appreciate you showing up. Glad to be at home. Can't wait to spend a little more time here. In the meantime, if you get a choice, please support the sponsors that support us. Storm, Roto Grip, Niner Global, Cool Wick, Bowler's Mark, Pinnacle GPS, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and, of course, Platinum Ford. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
See you later, guys.